Hi, everybody. I hope you guys can all hear me.
Hi, Patty.
Hello, hello. Doing? We're ready for whatever April is going to bring us, right? Good morning, everybody. Hope everybody's doing good. I imagine that we may have a smaller group today because of the Fair Housing Council meeting in Riverside. So anticipate us to be a few people short just because of that. No pun intended. And just so everybody knows, next month at AGLA's webinar, I will be there at the trade show. So feel free to come on over to Pasadena and say hi to me. I will be at the trade show all day. Should be there from about 10 till whenever, but I'll probably be there till late in the afternoon, about 4. So if you guys are in Pasadena on the 15th of next month, I would love to see you at the AGLA webinar. I believe it is free to attend. Lots of vendors there for you guys, lots of places for you guys to get lots of information, good information. All right, anybody have anything they need to talk about or want to chat about?
I do, Patty.
Hi, how are you?
Okay. I just need some clarification. I have a move out. The 30-day notice was for April 20th, this Saturday, but they gave me the keys and left last Saturday.
Okay.
And so when does my 21 days for security deposit start? The day they leave?
Last Saturday when they gave you the keys.
Okay. And then since they owe utilities and I won't have those bills till possibly next month, I send them an estimated security deposit return. And then when I do that, then the final. But I can put, and then I have one last question about security deposits. I have the bills for the quote unquote damage, like the blinds that were broken and the electrical socket that was burned. Do I have to show them the receipts for that? And then do I break up the labor? Like how do you, or do I just put the bill from the repair person?
You can include the bill from the repair person. I always require that my repair people itemize their invoices.
Okay.
So if they itemize it, it should be listed item by item by item. So when you get the detailed itemization of all the expenses, if you're not going to charge them for something, you can just cross that off and deduct that from the total, and you're not including that in the invoice. It's much easier that way.
Okay.
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 Any more questions? That was easy.
Hi, Patty. This is Suri.
Hi, Suri.
Okay. Similar question. Can I request a licensed person to do repairs before they move out? Because they told me that
you can always request that the repairs be done in your house by a licensed contractor.
Okay. Okay. But okay. And if I'm charging for move out $125, do I need to specify repairs details?
If you're doing that 125 deduction, that's all you can deduct is 125 and nothing else.
Okay, and I don't need to specify for what?
Correct. If you are doing anything that's over $125, you have to have itemized invoices for each expense.
Got it. And one more question. I'm not technically savvy. As far as replays for March and April, how do I access that?
Say that to me one more time.
The replay of the meeting, of the Zoom meeting?
Oh, they'll be available on the website. They usually are available 30 days after.
Oh, okay.
They don't put them up right away anymore.
Oh, okay, okay. I got it, because some of the wording that you gave me last time.
It'll take about 30 days. You can always send me an email and ask me to send you a link to that class so that you can review it.
Okay. Well, can I do it right now, the last meeting?
Yeah, just send me an
Okay.
email. Okay,
Thank you.
perfect.
Thank you so
No
much.
problem. And then I see BC has some questions. Can landlords serve a notice themselves? Absolutely. Landlords can always serve a notice themselves. Well, Patty, wait a minute. I always thought my attorney had to. You can't serve a lawsuit if you're a party in the lawsuit. So landlords can serve notices until they're blue in the face, but they cannot serve an eviction or a small claims case to the tenant because they're the other person in the lawsuit. So it has to be a process server or something of the like. Make sense? Landlords can serve their own notices all day long. They cannot serve their own lawsuits. That's where the difference comes in. If the notice of right to inspection was not signed and returned by the tenants, what do? You do absolutely nothing. Reach up there and hit that easy button, okay? What they're saying is they don't want an initial inspection. What does that mean? It means you don't have to go out there 2 weeks prior to them vacating and tell them what they have to do to get their deposit back. They didn't respond to request an initial inspection. So you don't need to perform it. Got it? You're just going to go there and do the move out inspection. If you have more questions, type them in while I'm going, okay? Val, I sent an evicted tenant an estimated dispo, but it was returned. Now, where do I send the final? It was returned not deliverable at this address? Send the final the same way, but you can always mail them a blank piece of paper and at the bottom put address correction requested or forwarding address requested. And what'll happen is the post office will then slap their new address on a yellow label and mail that back to you. So what I usually do is mail the tenant a blank piece of paper and at the bottom of the address, I put address correction requested. And then what happens is if they put in a forwarding address at the post office will mail you that letter back and they're just going to stick a yellow label on it telling you what their new address is. That's the easiest way. In the event they didn't put in a forwarding address, you need to do the same thing with the final so that your timeline works. If they didn't give you an address, that's on them, not on you. But you got to make sure your timeline's working. Even if you're mailing it to a place that you know it's not deliverable, that is the last known address. You have no other choice. BC, a tenant moved in 4 months ago and yesterday sent a picture of the door to the service porch damaged and is requesting repair due to wear and tear, claiming that the nails used to secure the hinges are old and hence should be a new door. Send your workmen out there. You may find that originally they put in too short of screws in the door. That could cause a problem, just so you know. Other than that, it's probably going to be not wear and tear. It's going to be misuse and damage. But you need to send a workman out there to look at what they're talking about because tenants tend to do a lot of LLPOFing. Liar, liar, pants on fire. In other words, there's nothing mechanically wrong with the door. Your kids were swinging from it. Makes sense? Also, doors tend to swell and retract based on the weather. There's a lot of moisture in the air. Your door may become difficult to open and close because the door's swelling with a lot of moisture. Once it dries out, you don't have the problem anymore. Same concept, okay? Hi, is there such a thing as a 14-day notice of abandonment? Yes. Hold on, Dan. Hold on, just a 14-day notice of abandonment. Hang on. There's a notice of belief of abandonment of real property. There's a notice of belief of abandonment of personal property. It is an 18-day notice if you post the notice for a personal property. It is a 15-day notice if you hand it to them. But if you post it on the door, it's an 18-day notice. So it's a 15-day notice of belief of abandonment of personal property if you hand it to them. I hope that answers your question, Dan. Patty, This is Angelica Smith. Is it illegal to charge pet rent in California? Most likely. Most likely. It is illegal to charge pet rent in California. Most likely. So I'm going to ask you a question. What city is it in for pet rent? Okay. Tell me what city pet rent's in and I'll tell you. And then you'll start to understand why. Okay. Val, I think he's living with friends, no address known. This is the drug family house or the drug farmhouse. Ah, got you. Farming for drugs. Yes. Yeah, they're probably running, but just send the final to this address that you have or where they moved out of. That's what's going to protect you. A Section 8 tenant has a 13-year-old son that's not included on her voucher. What do you do? You notify Section 8 that you think there may be an error and have them look at it. Remember, children are a protected class in California. So not necessarily something you're going to do on your end, but you're asking Section 8 if they were aware that there was another child in the home. Patty, have you heard of any new regulations in San Bernardino County for upland homeowners having to switch over the water bill from tenants to owner? No, but I know why they do that. And they did that in Victorville. You want the why behind it?
Yes, please. I'm curious.
Water bills and trash bills follow an owner. Gas, electric, cable, and phone follow the tenant. Meaning, if the tenant vacates and doesn't pay their electric bill or their gas bill, you and I as landlords don't care because the electric company and the gas company is going to go after them. But for water and trash, they hold our foot to the fire. They can put a lien on our real property if that bill's not paid. That's what they are doing. They did this in the city of Victorville decades ago so that tenants couldn't leave behind water bills. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
That's why the city does that, so they don't get stiffed. They know that owners have a lot more control than tenants, so they're trying to pin the bill on you so they don't get stiffed. Make sense?
How does that work with if you use livable? Do you know?
You can still do it that way because you're still doing the prorating. You're still, even if you're doing the RUB system, you can still do it that way. But what they're doing is they're not allowing the tenants to put water in their name anymore. They're requiring the landlord to do it and then bill back to the tenant.
Gotcha.
Okay. But that's why they're doing it. The other question, for a month-to-month lease, can I require a 60-day notice to move out? Yes, you can, but it has to be in your lease when they moved in. So, you know,
Oh, that's-
somewhere in your lease, it says that your tenant must give you a 30-day written notice if they vacate. You're going to want that to say 60 days for you. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
No worries. I gave my tenant a 3-day pay rent or quit dated 4/15. I posted the notice on the door and mailed it out priority. Today is day 3. Should I start the eviction tomorrow? How long does it take? Should I seek an attorney to begin the eviction? What are my other options to begin the eviction process? Hi, Sharon. Contact your legal counsel, whoever it is you're going to use. I actually worked at Fast Evict Law Group, so I actually work at a law firm that does evictions. I would tell you this. I would immediately send them a copy of my 3-day notice, whomever it is you're going to use to help you, whether it's our firm or somebody else. And you want to make sure that your notice is in compliance with what the court requires. Because if your notice isn't in compliance with what the court requires, you're going to have to reserve. So that's the big thing, is make sure your notice is good so you're not wasting any time.
Okay.
So you go pick whoever you want to pick, whoever works best for you. I'm not picking sides or choosing, but let me say this. whoever you pick, whatever they tell you, how they want you to do things, that's how
Mhm.
you're gonna do it. Okay? And the reason I say it that way, you guys, is I may tell you, hey, do this, but I'm telling you to err on the side of caution. And an attorney may tell you, we're gonna do it this way. If that's who you're having represent you in court and who's standing next to you fighting for you in court, that's who you want to listen to. You want to do it their way so that when they're ready to argue in court, they know what they're arguing. Make sense?
Makes sense. Well, I like to work with you, and so maybe we can talk.
Why,
after.
thank you. I'd like to work with you too, but I'm not trying to say you have to or you must, or I'm
Right,
not that
no,
person, you know?
got
I'm
it.
like, whoa, slow down. I'm not pushing you in any
Right.
direction. I'm just
No,
giving
no,
you the information. But I would
Okay.
immediately send them that notice so they can review it, make
Okay.
sure that it has everything the courts require. That way, you know, yes, I can move forward or I got to redo this.
Okay, well, I'll send, I don't know who you're gonna refer, maybe it just be you doing it, I don't know. But I will send you the completed,
Intake, if you want to send it to my firm, you can send it to Intake. It's INTAKE at fastevict.com.
intake at fastevict.com.
You got it. And
Okay.
then you can just put in there, hey, is this notice any good? And they'll review it and immediately email you back. My team is awesome.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, I'll do it today.
No worries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next question. To take, I think this is Dan. Yeah. To take the property back. The tenant looks like they moved out and I'm afraid to go in and change the locks. The property hasn't been given back yet. So can I post a notice saying if we don't hear from you by X date, we are assuming you vacated the property, so we are taking possession? Dan, what you're talking about is, and write this down, you know that notice of right to reclaim abandoned personal property when a tenant moves out and they leave their crap behind? We have to give them that 18-day notice. Right to reclaim abandoned personal property. What you're looking for is right to reclaim abandoned real property. Love you. Don't mean that in a weird way. Okay. Dan, tell me that makes sense or that doesn't make sense, okay? In every eviction, anytime tenants move out and they leave their junk behind, we serve them a notice of right to reclaim abandoned personal property. And what you are looking for is a notice of right to reclaim abandoned real property. Okay, I see something coming through, so I'm going to keep going to the next question. And if I come across you, Dan, and you say, got it, I'll know we're good. If we're not good, I'll readdress, okay? Can you please give me the language for tenant damage for a reimbursement letter? If I noticed outdoor furniture covers torn as well as outdoor rug in addition to torn screens that were repaired from a dog, do I tell them to replace or wait till they move out? It could be years from now. Send them a cure or quit to repair the damage. Curable breach of covenant, also known as a cure or quit. I don't need to speak that way. It's Arlene. She knows what to do. And yes, it could, but you're asking them to replace damage or repair damage, and you probably have a damage clause in your lease contract. So you're just sending them a cure or quit. Okay.
But what about the work that they damaged the screen, the door, the window screen. So I've had it all redone. So
Now
now,
you're going to send them the invoice.
correct. So, but don't I have to write a letter or something?
You're going to send them a 30-day to pay you.
Is that a form or is that a letter I write?
That's the letter you write. So before you send it, you're going to email it to me for a second set of eyeballs.
Okay, good. All right, thank you. I'll be
You
doing
got
that.
it. I'm
Thanks.
sure we'll come. We're just going down the list today. Angelica Smith. Hi, Patty. Is it legal to charge pet rent in California? I'm sorry I missed your answer. I asked you what city pet rent would be charged in. Okay. And then I'm going to help you once I know what city. Dan, you got it. We're good. Awesome. And I'm to the end of the lab. All right. So I need to know, Angelica Smith, what city are you trying to collect pet rent in? And then I'm going to ask you, is it an apartment or a single family residence?
I have one Patty in Chino, San Bernardino County, the city of Chino. They're gonna move in, new tenants, they're gonna move in June 1st. They have a small pet. And it's a single family residence. So can I charge pet rent, or it would be under the security deposit, I believe, right?
Take a deep breath. This is Patty's head going. And rather than me verbal vomit how my brain's working right now, just give me a second, okay? Because let me explain this. You should be asking for double the rent as a security deposit until June 30th, because starting July 1st, you can't ask for any higher rent than 1 month. Okay, so fill up your buckets while the grunting are running. That answers that question. As far as charging pet rent, I need to know if you're governed by AB 1482. If you are, and you're also adding additional pet rent or storage fee rent, it's an illegal rent increase. So you got to be careful, especially if you're in LA County, where they have very strict restrictions on rent increase amounts. Just like here in San Bernardino County, Riverside, we're at 9.6% under the TPA. So if you do a rent increase of 9.6% and then you're charging pet rent, illegal rent increase, most likely. Pet rent not allowed in the state anymore. I would stay away from it, okay?
Okay,
But
makes
as
sense.
far as that deposit goes, that's where I'd be filling up my buckets as quick as I could. And because starting July 1st, we're only allowed to take 1 month's rent as a security deposit as a maximum. Period. End of report. There is something in that law that says we're grandfathered in for any deposits that we collected prior to that date. Okay. So under California state law currently, if the unit is unfurnished, you can collect double the rent as a deposit right now. If it's fully furnished, it's 3 times the amount of the rent, okay? Fill up your buckets while the grunion are running. Do not charge pet rent anywhere in Los Angeles County. Don't do it. It's most likely going to be considered an illegal rent increase. And as the law evolves, it's going to affect other counties too. So in my professional opinion, I wouldn't be charging pet rent for anybody right now. I also wouldn't be charging a few things, okay? It's not just pet rent. Remember all those ways we were nickel and diamond tenants? And forgive me for saying it that way, but it is what it is, okay? We were nickel and diamond them on pet rent, storage fees, this fee, that fee, blah, 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 blah. Those days are gone, okay? Now we have to disclose fees in our advertising. Okay, so all those nickel and diming that we were doing, cleaning fees, any fees we're going to be charging the tenant needs to be disclosed in our advertising. It needs to be disclosed to Hello. Okay?
Occupancy fee, extra occupant.
Anything that's charging them a fee has to be disclosed in your advertising. And you can thank Airbnbs for that.
Patty, what about pet insurance?
You can make it a requirement for them to get insurance. I didn't call it pet insurance. If they have a pet, you can also ask them to make sure that their pet is covered under their policy. I make it a requirement for a tenant to have renter's insurance and for me to be listed as an additional insured or interested party on their policy. A lot of policies will not do additional insured. They will only do interested party. Interested party is what you really need. Additional insured really helps protect you. Okay, got that? Additional insured really helps protect you, but I'll settle for interested party. What's the difference? As additional insured, I can file a claim for the landlord on their behalf while they're out of town. As an additional insured, if the roofer falls through and does this horrible roofing job, instead of yelling and screaming and arguing with him, I can just call his insurance company and file a claim because I'm additionally insured on the policy. If I'm just an interested party, I'm okay with that too, because in the event my landlord and or my tenant doesn't pay their insurance, I'm going to get a letter in the mail because I'm an interested party telling me what's going on. You're going to be canceled for non-payment. Do you know how many owners I've saved that have been on vacation in Hawaii or traveling totally spaced about paying their insurance bill and I get a notification that it's going to be shut off while they're traveling, I can save them. Hey, did you pay your insurance? No, I'm in Hawaii. Why? What's going on? Did you want me to make the payment? Okay, so additional insured interested party really does help you if you're managing for profit. If you're not managing for profit, then you don't need to worry about your landlords doing it, but you want to make sure all your vendors are additionally insured or interested party. Additionally insured really helps you when it comes to contractors, okay? Really helps you, okay? Really helps you. Had one fall through a ceiling once installing something. And he argued back and forth with me about his shoes and how he slipped up there and fell off the beam and came through the drywall. And that really wasn't his fault. It was an accident. And he didn't want to pay. And he just blah, 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 blah. I was so sick of hearing it. I just said, okay, let me call my boss. I'll call you back. I immediately hung up the phone with him, called his insurance company and said, hi, I'm listed as additional insured. And he just fell through the ceiling. I want to file a claim. I bypassed him entirely. He didn't like that, but you got to do what you got to do. Okay. Change to everyone. Now, oh, sorry. Beverly Hills Townhome, Los Angeles, don't be charging pet rent, don't be charging late fees in LA County at all. No pet rent, no late fees. Got it? Cleaning
What about
fee
if the late fees are voluntary?
if they come to you, I say collect them, but I wouldn't chase after them. I hope that makes
Okay.
sense.
Yes.
And I know somebody else is going to ask a question about late fees, so I'm just going to go into my spiel, okay? And then I'll stop. Why are late fees going to be ended in the state of California, Patty? Why are we losing them? What is happening that you're not telling us? Oh, I'm telling you, pay attention, okay? I'm over here. My late fee from my bank, if I don't pay my mortgage on time, is $35. My rent on my house in LA is $3,500, and my rental agreement says that I'm charging 10% late fee. My late fee is $350. Am I making a secret profit? Am I price gouging? No, Your Honor. We're using this as a deterrent until you collect it. Right now, as we speak, there is a huge amount of litigation going on in LA County courts and also in Sacramento County courts, up that way, okay? So in two places where late fees are being heavily challenged. That is why right now your legal counsel is telling you to remove late fees from your ledger before you go into court. They don't want to red flag the judge or attract attention to something that's being so heavily litigated right now. They'd rather just have you remove them and move forward without them. Make sense? We're going to lose them. We've been abusing them for decades. I'm one of them, okay? I'm guilty of it. I think we all are. Right? It's not just me. I know it's not just me. But that's the why behind no late fees, okay? So we need to worry about discrimination in charging some people 2 times the rent to increase the security deposit. Some people don't want to increase, but others I do. Based on the information obtained in your credit report, hold on. We're going to talk process and procedure. We're going to do this by the book, okay? In the event your tenant, an applicant applies to rent from you and they don't have the best credit, and you now want to continue to rent to them, but at a higher security deposit amount, you must first deny them. Send them an adverse action notice and deny them. Okay? Everybody paying attention. You are going to send them an adverse action notice and deny them, and then offer them a new term to rent at that amount at that higher deposit. If you don't, it's most likely considered bait and switch. Everybody got that? If you have questions about it, ask me. Okay? No joke. Got
Um,
that?
Patty, can you hear me? I'm
Yes,
Linda.
I can.
Okay, I have a tenant who did extensive damage to my house, and we found it during COVID, and I wasn't able to evict him. So we had to rehab the house. It took 9 months. It cost tens of thousands of dollars. It was a mold problem. He's moved back in, and now things are happening again. So
What
I
kind of things?
but I I can't evict him right now. I'm trying to get proof that has an unauthorized tenant. He's like malicious, but you can't prove it. Like I think he's doing the damage just because he was out of his house for 9 months and is like mentally ill. So I'd like to increase only his deposit, but I have people who have tiny deposits who've lived in places for 20 years, and I don't know if he found out, he could sue me for discrimination.
Absolutely. So let me ask you a question. What city is this in?
Bellflower, which it incorporated in the county of Los Angeles.
So you're currently limited at what amount for your increase of rent? Is that 8.8%?
Yes. And
Then
I've
that's how,
already raised his rent.
then that's how much you can raise the deposit.
So it's
8.8%.
okay.
Ah, now
super.
that makes sense to you, right?
Right.
Okay. Please be cautious. Some cities do not allow you to increase the deposit from the original rental contract. This is something new being implemented in cities with rent control.
Okay, we don't have rent control in the city. And we don't have any RSOs or anything. I think the city council people are
I understand what you and I both know, but I'm speaking in general for everyone else. So
okay.
because I realize a lot of people get on here and listen to other people's problems, but don't want to talk for whatever reason, which I'm good with. But
Yeah.
I want to talk generally so it covers more areas so they know about it for where they are too. So forgive me when I give you an answer that's very broad. It's so that everybody understands you guys got to pay attention to what city you're in. Off the top of my head, cities that do not allow you to do a deposit increase, and I have to go look at the statutes, do not hold my foot to the fire for what I'm going to say. Okay. I want to say that it's unincorporated LA County cities that are governed by RSO, such as Wilmington, okay? Such as out in the valley when we get into Sherman Oaks. So it's those weird cities that follow LA city law, even though it's not the city of LA, like Wilmington and Torrance and San Pedro. And I think it's those cities. So we need to be cautious where we're raising deposits going forward because rent control is now saying, no, no, no.
Okay. Okay. So it's 8.8% of his monthly rent.
That's how much you can increase the rent. So how much can you increase the deposit? 8.8% of the deposit.
Okay, super. So I can give him a rent increase and a deposit increase both. I love you, Patty. Thank you.
You cannot say, I have a $400 deposit. The industry standard's about $1,200. So I'm going to raise your deposit $800. Here's a 30-day notice. No, it doesn't work that way. If you are governed on a rent increase and you can only raise the rent by 4%, then you can only raise the deposit by 4%.
Super.
Okay.
Yes,
All right.
thanks.
No worries. Angelique, thank you. I'm glad you think I'm the best. I don't think I am, but thank you. I appreciate that. I just figure I'm sharing my knowledge because a lot of people don't do that. And I don't want to be that person. I want to be the person that you can ask and get a solid answer from. All right. Anybody else have anything for today? I have some things I want to tell you guys. I'm almost fully moved. It's only taken me 4 months to rehab my house. 4 months. Think I'm gonna move my bed one night this week, maybe even tonight. So exciting.
Have a question, Patty.
Sure.
This is for new tenant. Let's say your rent is 1,000. Does the security deposit have to be equal to the rent amount, or you could say, okay, my security deposit is 1,500 or 1,800?
Is it fully furnished or not fully furnished?
No, it's not furnished. It doesn't have to be always equal to the rent amount. That's all I need to know.
Correct for right now. And let me explain, okay? Starting July 1st this year, we can only take 1 month's rent as a maximum for a security deposit, period, end of report, okay? So going forward, starting July 1st going forward, we're gonna want 1 full month's rent as a security deposit. We're not gonna wanna take less money as a deposit unless they have exceptional credit and we're doing a $500 deposit, moved you in on an approved credit kind of thing, right? Prior to July 1st of this year, so June 30th and from now till June 30th, you can collect up to 2 times the rent on a vacant unit that's not furnished. Okay? So if your rent's $1,000 and you want a $1,500 deposit, you can do it. If you want an $1,800 deposit, you can do it. If you want a $2,000 deposit, you can do it. If you want $2,001, you can't. Got it?
Got it. Thank you.
Okay. Sorry, sometimes I break things down the best I can so that you guys understand it. And then whenever you guys get it, I just need to know so I'm not keeping going down the rabbit hole of trying to make you understand. Question, when my tenant was served the 3-day pay or quit notice, it was placed in an envelope and taped to the door. Does this make the notice invalid? I'd stay away from the envelope, okay? Let me explain. What the law says is that the notice must be posted in a conspicuous place, obvious, okay? Front door, walking into the front gate, taped to the mailbox. These are all obvious, conspicuous places. Printed out on 20 by 30 bright orange construction paper and posted on the door in a conspicuous place. I don't usually put them in an envelope because I want the world to know the tenant didn't pay. Law says I don't have to put it in an envelope. I never do. Ever. I've had tenants beg me to put them in envelopes. And my response is, if you don't want that posted on your door, then just pay your rent on time. There's the concept. Yeah, you can fold the notice, but why? I mean, the whole point of having a notice taped to the front door for God and everybody to see is it's embarrassing to the tenant because their neighbors know they didn't pay. Why do we want to shield them from being embarrassed for improper behavior? Talking out loud, trying to make you guys understand. Patty's a little bit more aggressive. So is it valid? It was taped to the front door. It was taped to the front door, so it was posted in a conspicuous place and also mailed same day. I'm with you, Val. Shame them. Shame them. Exactly. Everybody's understanding now. Let me tell you something. One of my tenants one day calls me and says, Patty, you could not believe my embarrassment when my daughter's tutor showed up here, knocked on our front door. I opened the door to let her in, and she handed me a notice that was taped to my door, put there by you. And now my daughter's tutor thinks I don't pay my rent. I'm so sorry that that happened to you. The law says I can post in a conspicuous place, and I did that. I suggest in the future, if you don't want to be embarrassed by your daughter's tutor, you pay your rent on time. Yes, I did. Following month, she paid her rent late again. Guess what Patty did? This was decades ago. I went down to Kinko's. You guys remember Kinko's? They don't have those anymore. And I got poster size bright orange paper because I looked up the statute and found that it doesn't specify what size paper it needed to be on. So yeah, I did. I printed it on poster size and duct taped it to her front door. I almost got fired for that because it was pretty rude, but yeah, Patty gets a little aggressive too sometimes. I will tell you this though. One day, a lady with a hoe and a rake sent me a picture in regards to those and had them come about so that they could go that direction. Hang on just 1 second for me, you guys. Hang on. Sorry about that. I'm back. Okay. And totally spaced on what we were talking about, but it looks like I have something else I need to tend to. So if anybody has anything else, let me know right now. If not, I'm going to go on about dealing with that. Okay.
Quick question, Patty, quick question.
Sure.
Let's say a tenant has always been late and you took the late fees from the new rent payment. And then finally comes the time that he's being evicted. Now, the last late fee, we're not going to put on 3-day notice. But the previous ones that we did, going to cause any problem or not?
Late fees can't go on a notice or the notice is invalid. A 3-day notice is for rent only.
Okay, I understand, but the previous rents, we took the late fees from the previous rents. Is that okay? The previous ones, like 2 months ago, 3 months ago.
I'd be asking your legal counsel.
Alright.
Okay, trying to be careful on that one. All right, and then do I recommend I serve the tenant again since it was in an envelope? No, just send a copy of your notice so somebody can make sure it's valid for use in court, okay? All right, you guys, I'm gonna get off of here. You have a great day. If there's anything else I can do, you know how to find me. Bye, everybody.